Okay, so today I'd like to show an update that I've done to my lineup and depth chart spreadsheet. It's been a couple months. I've been working on it, and every time I play the show, I find something new to change. So I'm going to get into this, and first off, I'm going to show you the lineup tab. And if you've seen the previous videos, you can tell that things are different now. I still have my original lineup up in the top left up here. I have the bench players, but what I've done is I've taken out the instructions on how to use the spreadsheet and put in my pitchers that I have on my squad. And the reason I did this is because when I'm thinking about putting in a relief pitcher, I want a broader scope and be able to see which pitcher I want for the circumstances that I'm coming up on in my game. One of the other things I've done is I've automated this quite a bit. In the previous version, I had to do some manual entry, data entry on this page itself. This page is completely driven now. It's automated. You don't have to put anything in. If something's wrong, there are other tabs that update it. So let's get into what drives this spreadsheet. There are 5 tabs that are automated and I use. There's the scorecard. In fact, I'll leave the data in there for now. There's the lineups that I just left, and there's PXP. This is the screen that I use to manage my PXP players. And then there's the depth chart. Going back real quick, I said there's 5, I showed you 4. This one is called My Team. Now this is a dual purpose. I use this when I want to see what team my lineup is on, what teams my squad players are on, and other just different information, but I also use this tab to update my lineups. So let's get into everything that drives this, and we're going to start all the way in the back here with the inventory work tab. So when I update my spreadsheet, I usually do it after there's an attribute update or a roster change in the show. And let me show you real quick. Let me go to that website for the show, and I'll bring it over. I have 3 screens I'm working on here, but I can only show you one. So on here, the tabs that I use for doing updates are the inventory right here, and that's what I was just showing you, the inventory tab. So what I do, this is my owned inventory. This is the cards that I've earned or bought over time with this game. And so what I'll do is I'll copy a page at a time like that, and then I will go into this page and I will either paste to match destinations, or I will paste special and do text. It's different for some reason. Sometimes when I do to match, it comes out great. Sometimes it comes out as links, and sometimes but it always works when I do text. So anyway, so that's how I update this page. And then after it's all updated, I sort it by player name and OVR, with the highest OVR above the name. And I'll show you that real quick. Let me select. These are the cards I've owned for the last update that I did right here. And then when I do a sort, it should show it. So it's player A to Z and overall, largest to smallest, the OVR, largest to smallest. And then after I get this, some of the values here are in text, especially the OVR. Sometimes it comes in as text, sometimes it comes in as number. It's really hard to tell. So what I do is I convert it, period, to a straight number, and I remove extra spaces. And what I get is this final list over here. And this is what I use when I transfer it to the inventory tab. And this is my inventory tab. And I just transfer the names there. And I generate a unique identifier code. Now in the database, let me show you the database real quick. Sorry about that. Okay, let me pull this in real quick here. So this is when you download the API, it comes in by pages, and then we combine it into a CSV file. And as you can see, there's all kinds of data in here. And this is where I start to trim off the things I don't need. And you can see that SDS provides a unique identifier in and of itself. But number one, for me, it's too long. And number two, I can't tell by looking at this unique identifier what player it belongs to. And so when I trim this database, I take out the fields or the columns that I don't need. And I just leave in, let me close this, I just leave in the fields that I do need. So I generate my own unique identifier, so I can tell by looking at any unique identifier who that card belongs to. For example, this one I have highlighted right here, Aaron Hicks. So it's a 91 Aaron Hicks. He plays left field. It's a Topps Now card, and he plays for the New York Yankees. Just by looking at how I've identified it, and only because I know, because I'm the one that put the formula together to make those. And when I get my database trimmed, I put it in here, and this is how it looks. So now you can see I take the inventory from the SDS page, I take the database from the API, and then I transfer the inventory onto a tab, and I transfer the database onto a tab. And this has all the players, and again, I don't use their unique identifier, I generate a unique identifier for myself. Okay, so that's how I get the most information for what I used. Now, again, I say I do a unique identifier for myself, and that's what this tab is. It has the position, the IDs, the team, the shortened team IDs, what division they're in. I have that just because for another spreadsheet that I use when I want to create teams by divisions. Sometimes we have missions where you have to have the AL West or the AL East or the NL Central, whatever. So I can create a team by what division it's in. And then I have the different series of cards that are in the game this year, and then ID letters for them, just that. Okay, and so then I have this tab called DC Sort. Now what this does, this sorts my depth chart. This sorts the data from my depth chart, because my depth chart will take any player, position. What I do is I select any position and any attribute, and it will pull from the database the attributes for those players, and I'll show that in a little bit, but this is the helper tab that does that. And then I have this, it's called HP, and what this does is it sorts out the live team information. One thing that SDS does not give us is how they generate batting orders. So I don't have that, and you'll see what a problem that is when it comes to grabbing the information in a little bit. But I do get pretty much everything else, and I can sort it by team. I can sort the pitchers, the hitters by team and such, and so that's what this tab does. I showed you the database tab, I showed you the inventory tab, and so this is the player data. Now what this does is it takes the player database and it sets it in the first half, And you can see, and then you can see over here a purple PXP on the right over here. And what that does is it comes from my PXP page that I showed you, where I keep track of the PXP upgrades that I've done. And I've taken that and I add the PXP data or level. So for every time you PXP one, they get one in their, they go up one in their attributes. So that takes this. And the reason I do this is so that when I'm putting a team together for cards that I own, I can play, or I know the attributes that my cards have because of the PXP that I've put together. And at the very end down here, you can see I have an offensive average and a defensive average. And I do that so that I don't have to look at all the different values. I can say, okay, what's my best offensive card? So I average the offensive categories. What's my best defensive card? I average the defensive categories. And so I generate those numbers there. Okay, so let's go on. This is called the batting order table, BO table. And as you can see, there's a lot of error codes in here and such. Every time they do a roster update, it changes player information, player data. Players get transferred, traded from one team to another. And so this screen is always in flux. This tab is always in flux. And what I do is I will pull the team batting order, and this comes from the HP tab. And I will split the spreadsheet with a new window. And I'll put this on a separate screen, but I can't show you how I do that with a separate screen. So I'll just show it here, how I have the information here. And let me go back to the table. Let me bring this one back forward. So what I can do is when I'm getting ready to play a team, a live team, and I need to fix their batting order, what I will do is I will copy the unique identifier and I'll paste it for the team that I'm playing. So let's see, who do we have here? What team do we have here? Let's take a look. This is for the Nationals, is what this is for. So you'll see, let me go back, bring this one back up. Well, it doesn't matter. Let me go down to the Nationals, and you can see I've already done it. Every time I play a team, I update it, and so the ones that have all the errors in it, I haven't played them yet. I'm trying to figure out a better system for this so that it's more automated and it keeps it up to date. But one of the problems is when you play a Conquest or a CPU game, the computer doesn't always put a player in their first position. Sometimes it'll put them in their secondary position. So that's not intuitive. And then the batting order, of course, is not intuitive on how that's put together, and that's not available in the API itself. So let me pull this back up, and you can see what I'll do is say, for example, looking at the Nationals over here, CJ Abrams is batting in the first position, so I'll take CJ Abrams unique identifier and I will put it there as a number, posting it as just straight data. Say for example, I'll change that for you. Say we have someone else, say Kybert. Do I have Kybert Ruiz? He's already playing. Here we'll do Yasel Antuna, just so you can see how it changes. So copy, and I will put it where CJ Abrams is, and then I will put it there, and you can see it changes it to Yasel Antuna. And if he's playing a different position, then I have to change that as well. Again, this tab is not intuitive. It doesn't really make for easy maintenance, but it does make it possible to do quick changes for the database itself. So let me get this and pull this out of the way in case I need it. Okay. So we looked at this screen, and when I change, and I'll show you how this works, So when I change the team, so let's put in the Orioles. And you'll see the Orioles change, but the pitcher doesn't. Let me change the pitcher here. Let's say Chris Valmont. Okay, so you can see the Orioles come up. Now, when let me come back over to my batting order table. Let's go. Oh, the Orioles are right there. And you can see that this screen automatically changes. It pulls in the Orioles, and I have the unique identifiers I can paste over into the batting order lineup. And that works out pretty well. And I get this information from the box score. When I go into a game, I'll pause it, I'll go into the stats, go into the box score, go to the team I'm playing against, their lineup, and then that's how I get their lineup and the positions that they're playing. Okay, so that's those two. Now let's look at the depth chart. Now this is fun. The depth chart is really great because what I can do is, say I want a second baseman, I want to find a second baseman that has a good arm. Well, here we go. Gleyber Torres of the Yankees has the best arm of the cards that I own. And you can see I don't have him PXP level, but he's a 91. But Andres Jimenez of the Guardians, I have him at level 2, and he's also he has a 91 for his arm. Well, that tells you that naturally he has an 89 on his card. But because I have him at PXP 2, then he goes up to 91. But say I want to, who are my fast? Say I want to start stealing. I want a second baseman that can steal. So I change it to stealing them both. Joe Morgan pops to the top. You can see I have him at P5. And so his speed is 95. John Berti of the Marlins, 97 is his speed. And so I can pick the cards that I own, and I have the top 35. These aren't it's not every single card, but it's the top 35. Say I want a second baseman that has the best offensive average. Boom. There you go. Craig Biggio with a 91.2. That tells me that his contact and his power, that his speed, those offensive categories that you would use on the base paths or batting, those are the highest. Say I want defensive. Say I want a good defensive catcher. Who's my best defensive catcher? Well, it's going to be Craig Biggio with a defensive average of 68.5. So that just kind of tells you, and I can do the same for pitchers. I can do it for any position that we have. If I want to know the, say the walks over 9, bases over balls. Okay, there you go. There's your cards right there. So this is my depth chart, and I will use this at times to determine when I want to play or put together a team. Say, for example, for the Reds, I want to put together a team for the Reds. I can go to here and I can look and see for each position which Reds player I have that's best at what I want that player to do. Okay, so that's the depth chart. Now the PXP. Let's look at this. So you can see on the very left the A through H columns. These are the players I hand type in every time I level them up PXP, and I have it sorted by OVR and then by PXP or by name and PXP level. So that's what H through H is. Now I have it broken down. I have 11 players that are P5. I have 10 that are P4. I have 22 that are P3, and I have 41 that are P2. Going over a little bit further, we can see positions by parallel. I know that I have 39 starting pitchers at parallel 1. I have 2 starting pitchers at parallel 4. I have 5 left fielders at parallel 3. That's what this grid is telling us. And then I have over here my lineup that I want to put together to work on my players that have the highest OVR, that have the closest PXP to 5. So my closest catcher that's high is 96 Piazza. First base, 95, Jared Walsh, he's at 4, and so on. These are the players. So that's what that does. And this is all automated. The only thing I type in are the names, their OVR series, team, their position, and what PXP level. The match column just tells me, is a formula that tells me whether or not the information I've put in is valid, and it matches my player database. Okay, so now let's go to the My Team. Now, My Team is fun because I think in the last update I was hand typing all of this information in every time I changed a team. And well, I don't have to do that anymore. So what I'll do now, let me get back over to this website, and I'll go to inventory. I don't need inventory. What I need is squads. There we go, squads. And so this tells me what squad I have active in the game. And what I can do is I can copy, just like that. And usually I have it on a different screen, so I'm not moving things back and forth. And then I just paste it. Boom, just like that, and it puts it in. Well, this is the same data I had before, so the screen didn't change. It's the same team I was playing with this morning when I did a conquest map. And then it has green check marks to let me know that it matches my player data, so that I know that in case I've gotten a new card that I haven't put in my inventory, sometimes I will enter a card into my inventory if I get it midstream and I want to use it right away. I will do that, and that green check mark won't be there, so I can go over, put the player in my inventory, update my player database, and make sure that I have the card data, and then that check mark will turn green. And so you can see I have the lineup, I have the batting order, I have the bench, and I have my pitchers. And then, so that brings us to the lineup. So this is automatically generated. By all of the things that we just did, this screen is automatically generated. The only thing I have to change is when I have a different pitcher, and if the team I'm playing changes their pitcher. That's it. What that does is, you can see in my data for my players, I only have one contact and one power field. I don't have left contact, left power, right power. I just have contact and power. That is because, if you watch carefully, this is a right-handed pitcher that I'm playing, that I have in here now, Denai Rees. Now, if I change this to a left-hander, let's find a left-hander here. Start at the top. Come on. Let's find a left-hander. Right-hander. Right. There we go. So you can see when I pulled Bruce Zimmerman, did you see the contact and the power change? Maybe you didn't. So let's go back to a right-hander, see a change. So you can see, for example, with Andres Munoz, who's the pitcher, his contact is 10 and his power is 5 for a right-hander. But when you go to a left-hander, his contact is 14 and his power is 7. So that changes for my lineup. So I know by what pitcher they're throwing, what my attributes are. Now you say, well, you can find that out in the game by pressing a couple buttons here and there, but I can do it mid-bat. I don't have to wait until I hit a ball or foul something off and see that little window. No, I have it right here ahead of me. I have it before the player even comes up. If I want to substitute a player, I can do that. Say, for example, I want Ken Griffey to go into center field. I will say center field, boom, he's marked off. He's not available anymore. And if you look at center field up here, Ken Griffey, and over here, he's put into the lineup in the first position. So that's how this screen is particularly helpful. And also when they have relievers, I can tell what reliever they're throwing, what order they're going at, and what closers they have. So, and even when they do a pinch hit, I have their bench here and with the attributes. So I know, for example, if they throw up a bench player, I can look at his speed and I'll know if he's going to bunt against me or not. Okay, So now let's go to scorecard. Now this is a fun screen that I've created. Now what this does is it counts PXP, not XP, but PXP during a game. So you can see right now I have different codes in here for each inning, and I have the codes down here in this section down below. And there's a little play-by-play that tells you what they mean and what they're doing, and then I have the game statistics right here as well. So for example, let me just delete all this. You can see right now this says 695, but as I delete information, boom, the information goes. Now there's a little bit of information that has to be hand entered besides the codes in the box. Say for example Byron Buxton gets a double. Okay, so you can see the Byron Buxton page over here. He gets a plate appearance, he gets a double, and it adds up his PXP points for that hit, which is 20 or 25. Would it be 25 or would it be 20? Double, plate appearance is 10 and doubles. So I have something else in here that is not deleted. That's 5 points, don't I? Well, that's there it is right there. There's a rundown by Khalil Watson. Okay, so let's do this again. He gets a double. So that gives us the 20 points for the double, 10 points for the plate appearance, 10 points for the double itself. That gives us 20. Say Craig Biggio then comes up and he gets a triple. Okay, well that's going to score Byron Buxton. So Craig Biggio, and I have to hand enter this, gets an RBI, and Byron Buxton gets the run. And you can see down in my game statistics, down here it shows the run, it shows the hits, it shows the RBI, and it shows how many at-bats I've had just by changing this. So this is pretty handy when I want to count PXP. When I'm doing a mission and I only have, say, 500 PXP left to go, I can throw this tab up. I can go through the game piece by piece, and I'll know exactly when I hit 500 PXP, and then I can jump out of the game and move on. The same is true for the pitchers. No matter how many strikeouts they have in a game, this will count up their PXP for however many strikeouts, including 40 points to complete an inning. I always have a pitcher complete an inning. No matter how bad they're doing, I make them complete an inning. They get the full 40 points for that, plus any points they get for doing any strikeouts. So you can see it counts the PXP for that. So that's pretty cool. So this is my lineup, that my depth chart spreadsheet that I've put together. This is the latest iteration of it. I think if I'm going to be making any more changes, in the top of my list right now is to make this screen, the batting order table, more intuitive, less data entry. But right now I haven't figured out a way to do it, but that's my goal. So I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a fun thing to do. The API that SDS provides for the game, MLB The Show, is fantastic, and it's a lot of fun, and we can get a lot of good information off their website and copy paste. Better than copy pasting would be maybe to scrape it, or if I've asked for a download link so that we could download our inventory. That would be a lot faster than doing copy pasting. But anyway, so that's it. I hope you'd enjoy it. Enjoy the game. Have fun. Remember, it's just a game, and just have a great time. And that's it. I am out.